We will start the session in another 5 minutes. We are just waiting for more participants to join. Very good evening to all those who have registered. We thank you for showing your interest in this webinar. I, Kalpana, Dr. Kalpana, on behalf of AIMS School of Business, welcome you all to this webinar on future of work. We'll just wait for the rest. We have close to 500 people who have registered. So we have around 100 in already. We'll wait for the rest, and then sharp 4:30, I think we will start off with the session. 3 more minutes to go. Sushmita, can you hear me clearly? Can I just hear your voice? How are you?
Yeah, it's all clear.
Yeah, just come a little forward and speak to be clear. To all the participants who have registered, if you have any questions, you can always type down your questions and send it in the chat box. The last 15 minutes, we would take in your questions and your questions would be answered. If we have a lot of questions, probably we'll choose out the best possible ones. And then Sushmita would be answering to your questions. Video is off, Sushmita. Sushmita?
Yeah.
Yeah, your video.
Yeah.
I think we have close to 100 live. I think we can start off.
Okay.
It's 4:28. 2 more minutes. Should we wait?
Let's be wait.
Yeah. 2 more minutes we'll wait, and then it's all yours. Okay. So it's time. So once again, on behalf of AIMS School of Business and AIMS Institute, Spina, Bangalore, I, Dr. Kalpana, the Program Director of MBA, welcome all the participants who have registered to this webinar on future of work, how to be relevant for industry and jobs. As you all know, the current pandemic is such that all of us are really scared as what the future is, whether jobs are secure, whether do we have jobs, especially the students who are in 4th sem final years are worried whether they have jobs for them, or is it how is the work going to be tomorrow and things like that. So this is how we thought we should have a session, and we are really happy to have our alumnus, Ms. Sushmita Choudhury from 2004 batch, who's had varied experience in HR, to talk on this topic. So thank you, Sushmita, for accepting our invitation for this webinar on future of work. Your experience over these years would speak for you. So over to you, Sushmita. Please take over from here.
Great. A big thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful and unique opportunity. And yes, a hearty welcome to everybody here. Each and everyone who has come forward is spending the time, and it will be a pleasure for me to share my experience, and also how for the last 16 years, like what rightly ma'am has mentioned, that I'm a proud Acharyan, and how it has been evolving through the last so many years, and HR, being in the HR field, how I have progressed. So to speak about it, first I would really like to thank AIMS management, our very dear Kiran ma'am, all my lecturers, my professors, my wardens, my management, my fellow batchmates, and in fact, I would like to also share we were really a bubbling enthusiast batch, the 2004 MBA batch, and it's a pleasure indeed that I'm representing one of them, and to take it forward, it would be a real nice time with you all to share what exactly we can anticipate, how we can prepare ourselves for the future, and how we can stay relevant. So I think this is something like I would really like to take you all through my experience, as well as what we have been also preparing our workforce. At the same time, we are understanding from the different sources that what are the changes coming in and how we should start getting relevant. Okay, so thank you once again for all your time, and let's have a very engaging session. Thanks once again. Yes, ma'am. We can start share. Great. So, am I audible, everyone? Hello. Can I hear everyone?
Yeah, it's audible,
Oh,
Sushmita.
okay.
You can
Great.
continue. Yeah.
Just it's always good to hear voices, because this one-way interaction at times makes you feel as if you're the only person speaking the other side. Okay, so we are on a very distinct topic, that is future of work. So there are two main elements here, that one is future and one is work. Okay, so before I really jump into the kind of all the ideologies and what exactly are the predictions and how these trends are coming up, I would really first like to understand from you all, uh, my participants, and all my dear friends who are here, that what exactly you all are thinking about today now. What exactly is it? I mean, this pandemic situation. Do you all assume it, or do you all really think about it as a crisis situation going on, or is it something like an opportunity which is coming up, or the new terminology that is all in place, that is the new normal? What is it? Can I have some responses in the chat box, please? Anybody in the chat box? Mm-hmm. Well, yes, Arpita, can I please hear from you? I mean, what do you understand and think about this situation? Crisis. Okay, thanks, Janvi. Thank you. Thank you. Tejas, yes, opportunities. Yes, mixed bag. I mean, it can be a crisis, can be an opportunity, and it's all about how we look into it, into this mixed bag, and take the understandings. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Fine. So let me start off with how many of y'all have read this book, The Sapiens? Anybody here? Right. A must read. I would request each and everyone here, please read this book, The Sapiens, because it talks a lot about the human crisis that the world is facing, and how this crisis, it's actually going to become the natural emergency. It's not only going to take care of the short term emergencies, but become the natural emergency, which is now we call it as the new normal. Okay, so this is something like which perhaps our generation and your generation, everybody has ever seen this crisis in place. So this is something like we should be taking into account these, what would be the consequences of our actions during these crises. Of course, as it's always said, this shall to pass. Of course it will pass, but what's very important is how do we prepare ourselves for the future is very important. So hello, yeah, so taking it over, sorry, I'm breaking in between. Yeah, anybody can guess what this picture is? I'm just taking into a future world. Anybody here who can guess what this picture can be? Hmm. I'm just looking for the answers, my dear friends, in your chat box. Can anybody please, any guesses? Okay. Yeah. Yes. 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 It's robot. Yes, definitely. Yes, Shumit. Yes, Megha. Yes. So it's actually remote. It's remotely handling the tissue into the human's hand. Okay. So that's a tissue, the pyramid shaped white tissue, and that's being handed over to the human. Okay. So contactless, there might be a situation where you need to have a contactless situation where you need not touch any of the items, and therein comes the machines doing our work. Okay, thank you all, thanks for your response, thank you. Fine. So as we enter into this future world, what would come into picture is, how is this happening? How is how are these things coming into picture? Okay, so at this point of time, you can see we are all in this cubicles, right, in this small blocks. Can you see the picture where you are but you are also in a physical distant way working? Okay, your lifestyle is in a different setup. You're commuting, you're not commuting to work, but you're still working regardless of the location. Yes, great, great. So this is something we are actually experiencing at this point of time. See, I'm from Kolkata, I'm sharing the experiences, and uh, I will be hearing you all very soon, but yes, I can get all the responses. We are getting connected, we are getting virtually connected, and I think that's how is one of the biggest emergence that's happening at this point of time. So before we really start off with the main, the actionable points, I would just like to share a very small video before we really take it further. Okay, so this is for you all.
This is not humans versus machines. This is humans enabled by machines. America can choose to reinvest in a larger set of people and places.
The question for employers is, how do they think about giving their workers the kind of flexibility that they need?
So that was something, I mean, you can say not even a minute, and you can understand that what exactly we are going to talk about. And exactly based on those lines, I'm going to take you through the why am I talking on this on this future of work, and what are those relevant skills that you as an individual, especially the aspiring ones, the aspiring graduates, the aspiring job seekers, the employment seekers, you all will be looking in for, and as an employer you will be looking in, to recruit and hire you. So this is how we would take it up, right? Okay.
You are speaking and everybody can listen.
Hello.
Yeah, any issue, Sushmita?
I don't know. Some of the slides just pushed ahead. That's why I have to just go back. Yeah. Can I start the poll now, please? Are the students on mute, everyone?
Students are on, everybody are on mute. Students and faculty are on mute.
Or on mute? Okay, fine. So I would just start one poll. Please give your opinions to the relevant statements that you all feel that it's matching to your, present situation. Here it is. It's on, ma'am.
It's on, it's on.
Okay.
I hope you can see the scores also, Sushmita.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, again, as what we were actually speaking, the 50-50 world, it's coming very clear. It's very distinct now on this poll. Great, great. Good. Good. So yeah, it's really going. I mean, it's scaling up, especially how many of us want to take the current period as a god-given time slot to train, prepare, and adapt to the new normal, right? We are very open towards it. At the same time, those who feels you're underprepared for such a scenario, for this challenging moment, no worries, things will come in place. You can always introspect and understand that what exactly you need to prepare yourself with. Good. So the maximum has been the last one. That is where we think about the new normal and we need to prepare and adapt ourselves over there. Okay. So I presume that many of us have. Thank you all. Great. So you see, as we are already thinking of how can we, you know, prepare ourselves for the future, and how is it that we need to keep ourselves relevant, and at the same time, but it's very important, that we try to understand that what are those trends that's impacting work. Okay, I will give you a real life example of my work. Like when we started off, we were in a very generalist, the same transactional roles, like the generalist HR, from recruitment to conducting appraisals, and as and when any kind of policy setups and all were taking place, right? But slowly, the moment we went, when we connected ourselves and we have gone into the new roles of where there was a globalized system, the centralized system came into picture. And because of globalization, because of the diversity, because of the technology advancement, because of the other emerging trends, whether in terms of politics, whether in terms of the science or media or entertainment or transport or health or anything as such, because of these, the depending on the industry that I was working into, we actually had to revamp our systems. How? It was a kind of a change, it was a kind of a change, a momentum of change that came in. And that's how these mega trends started impacting our work. I remember the traditional database, the employee information system, during our days as HRIS system, the enterprise resource systems. So what happened is slowly it all transcended to the next level of we had the transformations taking place, we had the SAP rollouts, we had the other kind of success factors was one where I had worked into. We had some other firms, some other conglomerates coming into with different applications and all, where you could track in the complete employee life cycle in one segment. And that's where, at the touch of your finger, at the touch of a button, you had the complete portfolio, right from your resource planning to the development and the succession plan, based on the fundamental levels of the competency framework that was in place. So you as an individual, or I as an individual, was hired based on those specific skills and competency. My improvement as well as my development plans were based on those specific roles that were designed and framed for me. And at the same time, I was moving to the next level and also creating opportunities for the next level based on those particular competency set. Now what's happening is, we ourselves have started creating learning platforms for ourselves. Okay, so it's not only we get restricted to what the company is going to give us or is going to offer us or is going to plan for us, it's also going to be what exactly we want to stretch ourselves for the next levels. And what are the kind of, whether it's computational skill, whether it's digital literacy skill, whether it's to do more with the coaching and the transformation skill. So depending on the nature of work, and very importantly, your interest and your this, I will not say this is very early stage for you to actually take care of your passion and concentrate over there. Because definitely when you start liking a job, when you're passionately towards that job, that fire already creates in you. And that's how every organization, I can tell you, my friends, every organization, they look for two main things. That is, what is the skill level that is for the job that they are recruiting for, and what is your will level. So skill and will is always the two aspects that we have been taking care. Okay, so in this future of work, I'm again repeating that it would be how the future is shaping, and yes, what are the critical competencies that are essential. I've more or less summed it up, and we'll just go one by one. Okay,
Which one is
we
it?
also have,
She knows skills.
hello, yes, hello,
Hello?
yeah, anybody?
Nothing, nothing. You can go ahead.
Okay, okay, yes. So, we all have been now hearing about Industry 4.0. Yes, we are into this trend, and it all depends on how smart are you. If it's on a manufacturing setup. Suppose you all have done your internships in some kind of a manufacturing setup or in some production, like you'll always understand that how smart is it, how much augmented it is, how much the wireless connectivity is there, how much communicable it is. So all these actually comes up to a, you can say, either it creates a greater, what should I say, it creates a kind of a greater promise for the future. And in case there are some kind of pitfalls, for example, in my current organization, it's an EPC firm, and wherein we have been with a very traditional workforce, we have been moving around, and now in this unprecedented time, when it comes about the challenging and the on demand jobs coming up, we have started, no, we have not started replacing the workforce, but what has happened is we have started creating a different segment of a workforce, so that these pitfalls can all be safeguarded. You know what I mean? That it's creating the next line, it's creating the next line. But yes, you have to be very relevant. You remember the word relevant that we have been talking about. So this is something that we have been taking care. And just to share with you all, I'm sure whenever you all are with your internship projects or any kind of industry experts you all are with, kindly take a call that what exactly the industry scenario is and how are they coping up. Because these things, these critical feedbacks are very important. Like for me, if I say that I'm enjoying and I'm very happy and I get a good package and I'm so good, good. I tell you, my dear friends, with the goods, please understand what are the criticalities involved, because the more you think about the criticalities, that's how you'll be able to also relate that what exactly can be the complex situations, what can be the problems, what can be the case studies. So it's very important that we go through it. So I'm more or less summing up with all these points, but again, a few of these points is just for your visual so that you all can register with this. Yes, aging is because of the demography, that is because of the generation of workforce, the millennials and the Gen Z's there. So what about the earlier workforce generation? So they are aging. So with aging, what's happening? You have a lot many industries opening up in the sense booming up. You have the pharmaceuticals, you have the healthcare. So there's a lot more happening in the future. But yes, with automation, augmented reality, with the digital advancement, definitely. To a very interesting thing is there is a power shift to the east. What does this mean? Yes, a lot more is coming towards the eastern part of the globe. Yes, there is a lot more global connectivity, and there is a term called green, which stands for, the robotics, the nanotechnology, the genetology. I mean, everything together, what is to deal with the technology, it's all coming in picture. We all know about it, you all know about it, you all are the younger generation, you all are totally into this, I mean, the digital interface, so you all know about it or everything. And the environmental concerns is definitely there, depending on, how the society is reacting and getting impacted, and what are the sustainability factors that we need to take into care. And there is a radical change that's happening every time. Okay, so I'm just going through this because so that I can come to the skills part of it a bit more. Okay, so we have already answered this, and you all have the maximum score has anyways come to the E part of it, that is where you want to adapt to the new normal. Very good, bang on. And that's how the main shift actually is happening in the business. Because if I give my example, like when there was supposed to be a technology led transformation, yes, I remember when I made a shift to L&T, and they were having a joint venture, and they were coming out of it, where we had the traditional policies and the procedures in place, and it had to go through a complete revamping. But revamping was all led with transformation. So what happens is, the moment you go through this, you have different models coming up. At the same time, you also have a change in the mindset of people, which is very important to take care of, especially It's not that ki only HRs will take care of that, but yes, in every business function, it's very important. And definitely you start creating pool of leaders. But I can tell you, my dear friends, the moment you are in a business school, you are a leader yourself. You have to take, you have to take initiative, which is the primary focus. And you have to start, you have to get on, you have to get on somewhere. I'm sure, because I know AIMS, how it provides us the platform of taking a lot more focus on your own entrepreneurial skills and your own holistic approach, how it takes care. I'm sure you'll have honed the skill by now, and things will always be better for you all. Right. So yes, the trends are and the patterns are all seen in food, in media, in retail, in travel, in healthcare. Yes, and there is a shift in the work life balance as well. Okay. So very interestingly, I was reading a book, okay, on future files, and I would like to share that anecdote with y'all. I'll be reading it out, okay, dear friends. So please hear it out. Very, you can concentrate on this, and please, and maybe you can get an idea of what exactly I'm trying to say. Okay. So here it goes like this. I'm sitting in a budget hotel room at Miami International Airport. It's 10:30 p.m. My room is basic, but I have free access to the internet, either from my own computer or via a giant television in my room. There is a coffee machine, complete with non-dairy creamer, and a small bar of hypoallergenic soap in the bathroom. Outside, on the other side of the freeway, a large neon sign reads "Girls." Unfortunately, inside the hotel, humans are rather absent. Indeed, while I can check up on the news in London through my television, I can order a sandwich because the restaurant closed 30 minutes ago. There is no room service either, presumably due to a focus on essential services. The hotel is pretty full, but I don't expect to come into contact with anyone else. See, he's home alone. If I placed the do not disturb sign outside my door and my credit rating was good enough, I could probably drop dead inside my room and nobody would notice. My email isn't working either because my email provider has thoughtfully recently completed an upgrade of all services to enhance security and reliability. Believe it or not, I can't access my email because they have sent me a new password, but I can't get hold of that because I don't have the password to open my email. Isn't this brilliant? And this is something like a vision into the future. Because things, as we talk about automation, there are things that is going to come up something like this in the manner. Okay. So just to give you an idea that yes, whatever the changes are coming is definitely depending on these emerging patterns and trends. And since there comes work and business, that's how, see how the uh, business models of Airbnb or Uber, how it's operating, how you have the conglomerates coming in. They have become our daily life, isn't it? Facebook, Netflix, Google. I mean, we cannot do without Google at all. So that's how, the complete scenario of business has been. There is an overall shift here. Okay. And very soon, when we have the wireless gadgets in our hand, and suppose there is a lunch time, and we might not have to go out for lunch. I mean, I would be a person who would be missing that out because there is a signal which tells me about what exactly the nutrients would be required for my diet at that moment. So yes, a lot of changes definitely, but that's how the world is going to be. Okay. So it doesn't mean that as 2020 and forward goes, that people will only lose out jobs. No, it's not like that. There would be also a fresh kind of jobs there. So it's for those people who are relevant, who would be able to reskill themselves. Okay. So that's how this also applies for the fresh graduates, for our management graduates, for the young aspirants. This is also applicable for you all. Okay. Because this is very important part of my topic of future of work, because everything is definitely going to be transparent. Yes, that is, I say that I'm good at work, no, it doesn't hold good. You have to prove it, that's fine, but it would be measured. That's very important. It would be measured for the amount of work. It doesn't mean that you'll have a yearly appraisal and like how you'll have your one annual exam or some midterm exams. No dear, it will not be only based on that. It's going to be a continuous process. It's going to be flat, definitely it's going to be flat, because you can be anywhere, everywhere. The globe is going to be completely a flat connected, and wireless is there, and we all will be connected with each other. It's going to be very competitive, because for the same kind of job, for the same kind of skills, which is that delta u is there, is what is going to be taken up. So, and yes, it would be on demand, because the more we are proactive, it's like now the call of the nature says that you need to be more proactive rather than be reactive and the rest of the things. So this is definitely going to be the future of work. I will share one interview of mine. Like I had taken an interview, I think this was for a sales position, and it was for a fresher only, and it was during my LNT days and void days. And they were saying that, okay, what kind of a job, you had a stereotype of questions there, and I just happened to ask one of that what kind of a job would you like? Okay, you're in sales and marketing, you're applying for that, what kind of a job would you like? And this boy, he was very smart enough, and he was smart, smart, what we actually look for now. So he very instantly said that, ma'am, anything but not the chair. Okay. So at that point of time, that attitude did matter, because if for a position for a sales guy, irrespective of what has been the job description, irrespective of what is expected and all, that attitude, that itself is actually a great ingredient for anybody to go further. And I can tell you, this boy has really done well. He has succeeded to positions, and today he is a specialist. He is a marketing specialist in one of the applications, that is one of the design applications. Yes. So this is just an example of, I just wanted to share with you all instead of slides. Fine. Since all of y'all are mute and I'm just going on one-sided communication is there. Yes, we have spoken about the work being transparent, the work being flat, the work being competitive, and the work being on demand. Yes. Why? It's because this skilled workforce, from the skilled workforce, this is what would be expected. Of course, it would be expected. This, and employers do have access, do have access to the skilled workforce. You are also a part of the skilled workforce. You are definitely a part of the relevant job skills. You are definitely employable. It's just that you need to understand which are your key strengths. I always tell my fellow colleagues or anybody, I always tell them that, please leverage on your strengths. It's very important. What limitations are, in due course of time one might get into, but it's very important that we identify and understand what our areas are, because if that is there, what happens is you're able to, take the interview through that. And I tell you, nowadays, with all these augmentation and everything coming into picture also, the moment you know cognitively where you can actually handle the load, the moment you know how exactly you can design your thinking process, the moment you know how relevantly you can, use your social intelligence, the more you bring a focus into these aspects, what happens is you can also please the interviewer. You can also please is a very less word, I would say, though you can always successfully carry out the interview process. So It's very important. And more than interviews, I would say that please build on your relationships, your networking, because it's very important. The more you network with people who are also from outside your community, you get to know a lot more about yourself. That's also a kind of an introspection that helps you know take your forward call. Okay. I am sure many of us had seen this meme. I think because this was a very okay. Let me check the chat box. Okay, okay. There are many questions flowing in. Fine. I will get into the questions a little later. Let me get through this. Fine. See, when I remember a few years back, like whenever I was also talking to a few of my students, I was talking to them regarding this meme, and I just thought, let me share with you all that whatever I have spoken down, that is your leverage on your strengths and all. At the same time, please identify your contributions, what you have made till date. And these contributions, your volunteerism, your how you can manage these relationships. So these things will eventually help you uh, become more relevant. It will prepare you. Okay. So in a nutshell, let me come back to the forces that is from the emerging patterns what we have discussed. I'm now concentrating on the forces which are actually in this age of disruption. Definitely aging, which we have spoken about, the demography shifts and all that. Rise of smart machines and systems, we all know about it. Our media ecosystem, yes, we have all spoken about it. So what happens is, one a person needs to really understand, the redesign needs to be really very actively. Somebody should be able to deduce it very judgmental way and in a very decisive way. That's very important. Okay. So these are few of the skills. And how to stay relevant? Yeah, the question is, how do we stay relevant? It's very important that we first understand and we first analyze what exactly is we are good at. Number one. Okay. How much we are good at it. And suppose, for example, I tell you, there was recently I had heard of this Netflix interview, wherein you go through the rounds of interviews and everything, that's fine. And after a certain while, I think it's on the fourth or the fifth round of interview, after all your these psychometric tests and everything are done. And then you are given a kind of an intra link, and you get into the complete intranet, and you are supposed to serve each and every the cultural aspects, the value system, the procedures, plan your leave, how do you want to take it forward. You need to understand the system in and out. It's your choice. You are independent, you're free, you have the power to make your choice. But once you make your choice, you are going to design the kind of work you're going to do based on the inputs you have. Of course, you have your reportings and all that, that's a separate part of the journal. But you are the person, you yourself, you're going to take a call. So it's very important that cognitively we have a very strong sensing, a very strong logically reasoning power, that we can understand. And then let me tell you, it's not that, I was good in I have a very good analytical skill, so I'll be good in this. It's not that. It's all with your practice. It's all with your live experiences. It's all with the kind of experiences that you are either having on job, either having during your internships or during a dissertation or during your projects. And at the same time, the more you are actually embracing these lessons or embracing these case studies into your daily understanding, into your daily learnings. Okay. So learning, relearning, retraining, reskilling, these are some of the terms which is everywhere now. It's everywhere. I think we have clouded our minds also with everything around. But the aspect is very important that we know that we are very adjustable, we are very adaptive to any kind of collaborations that comes across. For example, you see here there is a super structured organization. Definitely, this is a driver. This is a disruptive force. This is a disruptive force. But the moment we are into this kind of organizations, we should be very adaptive. We should be multiculturally adaptive to all the situations. So that's the reason, there are corporates which take care of whether your culture fit or not, because of this very reason, because that's how the culture grows. And in case you're not able to cope up, at the end of the day, it's actually a loss of the hiring, and moreover it's actually a loss on the part of the person who has been hired or onboarded. Okay, so that's how it all talks about your employment and employability. This is always a jungle, and relevancy, it definitely is. It's not that corporates are not hiring. It's not that you will be not having any kind of new life project. In fact, I will tell you that at this point of time, I know students who are actually on with 4 to 5 life projects. And this is the time where one can actually take care and make use of real data, because the more predictive analysis you get into, the more trends you try to follow, this will eventually help you understand that what exactly organizations at a micro level and a macro level are actually thinking of. Yes. So, if you ask me personally, yes, I look into these two aspects. That's the reason I thought let me share this slide with you, and which I call it as the fitness quotient. I definitely always take a call as, are you going to be the differentiator or you would be the developmental person? For me, both equates well. Okay, I'm talking with respect to a fresher entry, or I would say a new hire of maybe 1 year X. um, so this is what are the two main factors. Agility is very much required, and I actually appreciate this generation, because you have a lot more ideas, lot more creativity. The only thing is how critically you actually look into it as a problem solving approach. This is what is my take on the kind of relevant skills. Yes, and industry wise, I'm sure you have the complete understanding, but I would again recommend that the kind of patterns and the kind of trends that I have spoken about, if you can categorically, suppose your area of interest is really to get into the health sector. Okay, please take a call of how exactly you can think of what are the, you make a SWOT, you understand that what are the five forces. Please take a call on these things and talk to your mentors, to your guides, to your colleagues, to your peers, everybody, because at the end of the day, your employability is going to be dependent on, of course, what's the demand situation, what are your attributes, and of course what is the circumstances you are into. I'm sure I'm not giving any kind of instances to take you forward with, but please understand, these are the very essential, desired and essential factors that when you would really think of how me as an individual I can stay relevant. Okay, there is so much now the hype on digital literacy. I mean, it's not now, it has started from years together. And this has I think this is going to be in most of the curriculums. It has started in most of the curriculums and syllabuses, and I'm sure it's going to come forward. So this again is becoming very important. It's becoming very important because one needs to be relevant. Okay, so at the end of the day, I would say that definitely it is always survival of the fittest. We have always learned about it. We have um, learned during our college days, school days, and I think this is some phenomenon which has been it is like a in our DNA that the survival of the fittest is always the eternal truth, right? So there's nothing called extinction, but here extinction, what I mean is you take a target of maybe 2030, 2050 as the timeline. So within that, because I'm sure today after, like I am connected now with AIMS after 16 years, so I'm sure when you all will be for the next 20 years, okay, so 2040 and 2040 plus, I'm sure that the scenario will be very different. But yes, how for the next 20 years you all make the complete upliftment is what is my best wishes to you all. And before I really wind up, I would like to share a video which sums up what exactly I have spoken. The phases what I have actually touched upon, and that will give you a summation of the complete thing. Yes, you can see a graph which says that 2025 it would be mainly machines enabled by humans. Okay, so there's a video here which I will take you forward with, and why it's important, why it's important for you to watch this topic today was chosen for you because the future of work is you. That is very important, and predominantly this is the most important part of it, that it is you who is the future. Okay, so let me please take you through this video.
For the last 2-3 centuries, there is always this fear the machines are taking over.
I don't think anyone can irresponsibly say, oh, don't worry, nothing will happen to jobs.
This time it might be true.
The world's people say they're not overly anxious about technology. They are deeply, deeply anxious about their jobs.
AI will impact jobs, but we don't know what's going to come. We don't even know what new inventions are going to be.
To reinvent yourself when you're 20, it's difficult, but you do it. To do it again at 30, at 40, at 50, that's a very high level of anxiety.
But so what are we left to do then?
What are we left to do then? It's easy to imagine the predicted 66 million people poised to lose their jobs to machines, muttering the same refrains. The OECD, the intergovernmental organization that came up with that figure, estimates that 14% of jobs could be automated in industrialized countries. And though machines are most immediately coming after manufacturing and agricultural jobs, even work requiring more specialized skills could increasingly fall to automation. Goldman Sachs' chief financial officer reported that their US cash equities trading desk employed some 600 traders back in 2000. All but 2 of those positions had become automated by 2017. In these increasingly uncertain times, we ask the experts, what jobs will be created and what jobs will disappear?
There'll be some disintegration and some creation of jobs.
50 years ago, we could not have thought of software engineering as a job. Today, the whole Silicon Valley is full of that labor force.
First, obviously, it will create AI jobs, right? People who program AI, people who fix robots. But in terms of quantity, is a very, very small quantity.
We will see jobs more related to interaction with intelligent machines,
where it's symbiotic between the man and machine. The human can do things that the machine cannot do, and together they do better.
Freeing labor from dangerous, repetitive work.
I suggest every professional, whether you're a lawyer, accountant, think about tools that emerge and how that makes you 2, 3, 4 times stronger, better, and richer for that matter.
People talk so much about replacing humans, but I think the goals of AI machines should be actually more assistive.
But to be really honest, professional jobs are still a small proportion of the total jobs.
To a large extent, blue-collar jobs will be replaced by machinery.
Bank teller, receptionist, customer service, drivers, and even radiologists, relatively high-end, more complex jobs are going to eventually get replaced over the next 15 to 20 years. The routine job replacement is huge.
Humanity has seen this over and over again. Every industrial revolution is a huge disruption of jobs.
I think it easily accounts for half of our jobs. Different people have different views about whether these half of the jobs will take 10 years or maybe 30 years or 40 years to be replaced. But even 40 years is faster than industrial revolution.
The experts agree that though technology has disrupted the nature of work in the past, at no point in history has the transformation been so rapid and extensive. And that speed means workers must stay nimble and continue learning new skills throughout their working lives.
I think that there will be new jobs. The big question is whether people will be able to reinvent themselves to fill these jobs.
But what if they can't? Stay nimble and keep learning.
The difficulty would be if you're in the same routine type of environment for 20, 25 years, and suddenly you're told it's not available anymore. Go and learn something entirely new. Well, that's the case. It's the most difficult case. That's where governments have an important role to play.
If a job is going to be lost, what's the support for the worker to make sure they have skills and redeployment support?
You need to provide a kind of training program. And the big question there is who pays for this training program and who provides it? Provision at the company level, funding shared by the company and the state.
Full employment is still at the heart of our communities, the dignity of work, the cohesion that brings social stability, and we need to plan for that.
Because if we don't do that, half the people losing their jobs, whether it's over 10 or 30 years, is going to create a large number of unhappy people who face not only a loss of income, but also loss of meaning. I think we need to create more human compassion jobs, human touch jobs, caretaking jobs of keeping company of the older people, orphanages, concierge, masseuse, bartender.
There would be many more flexible forms of employment, but the average is, and also for full-time workers would be less. There would be more time for leisure activities, travel.
We need to, in our education, have the future children know that it is okay, these are good jobs to have. That whole shift of retraining education, and in fact a shift from the Industrial Revolution work ethic to a new work ethic where we can have lives that we much more enjoy, that whole shift, I think, is a huge process.
What about college students trying to decide which degrees are worth potentially tens of thousands of their tuition dollars? Which ones will actually land them jobs? Perhaps a bachelor's in art history doesn't attract the same job prospects as, say, one in computer science. Finding purposeful work.
To the 18, 19, 20-year-old.
In terms of choosing degrees at college,
You know, you hear people talking about problem solving being at the essence. I've heard this for 25 years.
I think the main consideration that you have to do is whether you're interested in that degree.
Humanities are at the base of our knowledge. They're at the base of our own understanding of human relationships and history and development.
The world needs that diversity of thinkers and doers.
It gives you a core of a knowledge base that then you can build on with specialist skills.
Do what you're interested in, because if you do what you're interested in, then you'll be good at it. Now, labor markets change. You have to keep learning all the time. You have to keep adapting. Therefore, you need to have the basic skills.
Computer skills, scientific knowledge, the capacity to understand geology, these are specific skills that you can build on. I think we've made false choices by separating so far out of the equation on technical degrees. We really want people who can think about things, solve problems, then you need a mix of both.
Though many universities are diverting more and more funding to their maths and science departments, we discount the humanities at our own peril. Equally, say our experts, if we don't build a framework for an automated future, we could face significant social, economic, and political upheaval. So, are we prepared for automation?
Humanity at the beginning was working all day, all weekends on the land, right? Industrialization has shifted that. Now most of us in the world, at least in the developed world, live in a 9-5 kind of job scenario and 5 days a week.
The human purpose in life is not about working very hard, even if it's a routine job, and attain wealth and respect. It is more about expressing love and compassion, about making a difference to other human beings.
I think we understand enough about automation to know what structures to have in place to ease the transition.
If we don't learn from the lessons of the past, if we aren't prepared to actually heal the fractures of the current working environment and then build on those partnerships to plan for a secure future, then it does look bleak.
We don't have to protect jobs, we have to protect people.
If we aren't prepared to actually heal the fractures of the current working environment and build on that.
So, that's all I had for you here, and yes, and hope the video could actually give you the glimpse of what exactly we have been sharing with you, and look forward. I wish you all the best, everyone here, and please do keep connecting. And very important, stay tuned, stay safe. Okay, thank you so much for your patience, and over to the questions. Let me please check the chat boxes.
Sushmita, thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Ma'am.
There are a few questions in the chat box. Do you want me to read it out for you?
Yes, please.
Yeah, there is Professor Ramesh Iyer who is asking about, in the view of the current scenario to the entire workforce of organizations, including multinational companies, they can work from home without relocating. So even for operations, robotics, AI can be used to supervise remotely. So except for short stint like onboarding on work, all others can be done from any location using technological tools. What is your opinion on the same? So please comment.
Ma'am, the full question I've not been able to get through. I'm not able to see the question also.
It's down. He says basically the question is, as the entire world is going to work from home without relocating and AI can be used, do you think this would become the new normal? Do you think work from home will become a kind of a new normal? What do you feel?
Yes, as I said that it's going to be 50-50. It's going to be on a ratio of 50-50, definitely. I would say definitely most of the operational setup, the production lines, in case there has been structures and systems in place, yes, work from home continues. If not, there are now models being worked upon where the chances of work from home can be carried on. So it's, again, that's what I'm saying, that it's totally a mixed bag, because many of us, we were not prepared for this uncertainty which would be coming up, and that's the result of we need to either sudden by a sudden disruption we need to continue with work from home, but not in a structured or in a productive manner, or some of them they are continuing because they have been used to this. So there, if the systems and the procedures and the the integrated management is in place, definitely work from home continues. And I would also like to mention here, Professor, because as part of the gig economy, I can tell you that there are there are huge impacts, there are huge positive impacts that's happening with the gig economy. But yes, it depends on the kind of requirement that you actually project in your business, in your business model. So depending on that, it all stems from the kind of business model that someone or the other or some other corporation is actually thinking about. Thank you.
Thank you, Sushmita. I think we'll take two or three more because there are a lot more and we don't have much time left. We've
Sure.
crossed 1 hour.
Sure.
Dr. Geeta Rajaram, she has a question.
Okay.
Would women who took break from work find opportunities now with work from home? Your thoughts. So for
Absolutely.
those women who have taken break, what do you feel?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are going to be, there are not only going to be, there has become a lot many opportunities, a lot many diverse opportunities which has been coming up for women, and especially those who are on sabbatical and they are they can work from home, they can contribute, and there are certain skill sets which are definitely required. So based on that, it's definitely taking care, and it's going to create opportunities more along the run.
So there is one more.
Yes, ma'am.
School of Hospitality, Abhishek. In
Okay.
line with what you quoted, hospitality industry will surely lose its human touch
Hmm.
if there are if they are completely automized. We may witness man versus robot scenario rather than enabled by technology, and this in turn would make tough competition to get into industry. So, what is the future of work for hotel management graduates? So, he's a hotel management graduate. So, his question is, if everything robots take over, what will be their jobs? That's the question for all of us, in fact.
Great. Great question, Abhishek. Thank you so much. I must say that your thoughts to ponder on is very, I mean, I think it's very realistic. But at the same time, let me tell you that when you talk about hotel management, when you talk about, not everything would be controlled or robot centric, not everything.
Okay.
Let me
So,
take you back to another thing, that in every element there would be the human touch, that would always be there, because without the human contact, human touch, or the personalization of any kind of an item or any kind of service or any kind of product, it will not do a good way, or it will not carry along in a very productive manner. So definitely robots would be there, they would automate, they will bring the chances, the timelines, and they will become more effective, that's there. But at the same time, personalization of any service will not fade away, it will be there, definitely it will be there, and your future of work is there. But it's very important that you learn, reskill, and keep adapting, it's very important.
So I think there are few more. I We are short of time, so probably, and these are all few students' question about their placements in corporates and all that, which I think is valid because they are also worried here whether are jobs available for them after this pandemic, or is the situation going to be really tough for them? So these kind of questions are there from a lot of students. So
Okay.
probably for all students, if you can say something that they really want to hear from HRs like you all, and what was tomorrow for them.
Okay. I would not talk about tomorrow to make predictions, but yes, my dear students, I can tell you about now. And now it's really, I will give you a very small example. Okay. There, suppose you go through the complete compensation and benefit. I'm talking to the HR students especially. Suppose you go through the complete curriculum of the, you learn everything, every big theories, every big mechanisms and the tactics, everything you learn. But at the end of the day, if you are not able to calibrate, or if you're not able to understand what are the cash components of a compensation structure, then this is where you should get that alarm. Okay, this is a small thing I would really like to keep you with, that we need to understand the fundamentals. It's very important now, because the moment we understand the fundamentals, any kind of change which comes in, any changes which we can foresee or anticipate, we can always accommodate our learnings to that. So it's very important that we know what exactly in a payroll system it comprises of. Okay, instead of the complete executive competition and what are this, that, and every big thing, the small things, let us know the small things, and please focus on your internship projects. It's very important. It's very important. Please focus on that, because I can tell you, my dear friends, this itself is going to create your own future. This will create your own future. Okay, I hope I have been able to answer your questions, and any further questions, my LinkedIn link is there. Please do reach out to me. I'll help you. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Sushmita. Thank you so much. It feels
Thank
really great for us to hear from our alumni, and you've grown so much from what you were in 2004 in terms of knowledge. So that's what makes us happy as teachers. So I think the audience also had a great session, I'm sure, because in the chat box, if you see, most of them have said it's great session, lot mind blowing, lot of information. Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful session. So the kind of feedback that we get in the chat box itself make us understand that the session is really wonderful. So thank you, Sushmita. On this note, to all those who were on live, we will have such sessions next week also. Next week, we have an international guest speaker from Sterling University, UAE, who will be speaking about the importance of attitude, behavior, and emotional intelligence on work performance. So she would be coming on this topic from UAE. On that note, we would stop here. And thanks once again, Sushmita, for being here with us. Thank you
so
all
much.
the participants. Close to 500 participants is indeed a great thing for us. So on this note, stay safe, stay informed. This is Dr. Kalpana and Sushmita signing off from AIM School of Business. Thank you, all of you.
Stay safe, everyone. Bye.
Sushmita, you can end the session. Thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much.
I was just going through the chat box. I could not
Oh,
go
you
through
want,
that.
you want, you can go through the chat box. No issues.
Yeah,
Please
yeah,
go
I'm
through the
just
chat box. Yes.
yes, ma'am. I'll just go through and
Those who are online, you can please leave the meeting or the chat.
oh,
IT support says he can send entire chat box to you.
okay. That will be great, ma'am. That will
If
be
you
really
want it,
great.
yeah, he will send the entire thing to you.
Yeah.
So thank
Thanks
you
a
so
lot
much.
to the IT team. Thanks a lot to the IT team there.
Yeah, IT team requires a special thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
thanks.
much.
Raghavendra and Syed, both of them are here. I'll tell them.
Great.
Thank you, Sushmita. It was wonderful having you here.
Thank you. My pleasure, ma'am.